really glad that you're not back in the PD. And he said, what
That
do you...
police department does not deserve any of us, frankly.
That police
Sorry, keep going.
department, I told Snow that if he was there for this new structure, he wouldn't have made it a fucking week.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I don't blame him. But knowing Snow and his personality and just how he carries himself, if that place had his name attached to it, it would have burned. It would have been, that bridge would have been gone in the first 72 hours.
Mm.
And I told him, I said, I'm so happy that you're not back. I said, I miss you like all hell, but I'm so happy that you're not back.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him that about 6 or 5 months ago, if you can imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
to think how full circle that came is something else. But to be honest, I'm glad that Snow's doing something that he enjoys.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. I know Snow doesn't look back on it fondly because it was a really stressful and difficult time for him in particular. But the police department was the best operating and the scariest when he was in charge of it. It was actually the strongest I've ever seen a police department work. And again, he'll never, he never wants to go back to anywhere near that because he sort of he's he prefers a good in between of what it is now and before. But yeah, when he was heading it, it was God. It was the police department was something to be reckoned with then.
I used to tell people, you know what? I'm not even going to say that because that's not even true.
Hmm.
I spoke with Tails the other day. Remember Samantha Morningstar, Tails?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
She said something that was so true. And honestly, out of all the conversations I've had with people, Tails was the one that really like drilled it into my skull. She just,
Mm.
there was no filter, and it was just the most raw, most to the point conversation I had with anybody. And I've
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of like to the point conversations.
Mm-hmm.
She got pulled over the other week by a cadet. This cadet walked up to the window, and during the traffic stop, Tails asked this cadet, what made you want to do the job? What's your goals? What's your aspiration? Take a guess what this fuck said.
Mm.
I'll save you the trouble. He said, I applied.
Mm.
I'm going to say that again. His goals and aspiration in the police department is that he applied.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to say that a third time?
No.
Or is it dumb the second time as much as the first? Point B.
It's
Tails said something that stuck with me quite heavily out of that conversation. And everybody says the same shit, right? Everyone like does the same thing with the PD that they've always done. And it's the one thing I fight for, but she's not wrong about this. She said the PD doesn't have a backbone. Now, in a sentence, respectfully, it's words, right? PD doesn't have a backbone. Okay, sure. What about it doesn't have a backbone, though, right? That's sort of a generalization. That's sort of like saying a you-all. But then Tails went on to say, no one is ever going to know the unity of having Connor Stubble in a helicopter pointing officers into an apprehension.
Yeah.
And having units work together. That unity is not there. You said you're never going to see Jackie Snow and Copper in a race giving comms. You're not going to see that anymore. And she started going down this list of all these people, and she said there are no prominent leaders with a backbone. And the problem with that is that all the new hires that are coming in are never going to experience that level of unity.
Nope.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it was when Hales used those examples of stubble, snow, copper, people that, like, when you hear the name, you thought, oh, fuck, right? You don't get that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There is no backbone, there is no unity. And it was after Tails said that and used the examples, I realized you're absolutely right. None of these cadets are going to have anything more than a shell of what you or
Mm-hmm.
I would know, or even Tails would
Yeah.
know. And
Yep.
it was just reassurance that my decision was correct.
Yeah.
And honestly, nothing made me feel a little bit prideful in my position than when Snow said this current structure doesn't deserve anybody from the old state.
Oh yeah. You're 100% right, man.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, God.
He's
What a
right.
what a what a department it would have been if it was, snow and stubble leading. Are you kidding me? Could you
Oh,
imagine those two fucking heading any of that? Oh my God. What the police department would have been a nightmare for everyone.
yeah.
Sorry, we're just talking about, what ifs a long time ago. What ifs. All right.
Oh.
Yeah. It's we're just talking about the poor state the
Chat,
police
I was
department is
supposed to
in.
go to bed
That's all.
about 4. I feel like shit.
Yeah,
I'm
it's in
sick
shambles
and
now.
I am on like 3 hours of sleep. Why does this keep
Yeah.
happening to me?
Yeah. Teddy, how are you? It's good to see you.
I
I'm gonna-
exist
I'm
in
gonna-
this time and place.
I'm gonna get your cave sorted, Teddy.
Ooh, okay.
I know Tessa's supposed to be doing things, but Tessa's got a lot going on, so I'm gonna do your fucking cave, Teddy.
I
Properly.
didn't want to complain, but then I realized I've been sleeping on a rock for like 5 months, and I figured I should ask.
Yeah, no, you have every right to complain. No, don't worry, I'll get it sorted for you.
Rocks are pretty cozy.
Flop, you need to be around a little bit longer. You're gonna hate me, but I have someone free to talk to.
Who?
Lovesick.
Much longer.
He said he's got 5 minutes, and that was 3 minutes ago. So he's available very, very soon. Don't worry. It'll be fine.
I literally just said to myself,
Mm-hmm.
how am I still awake? I need to go to bed. I
I
literally
was gonna say it's pretty late for you, isn't it, Mr. Flop?
It is.
I needed to go to bed about 5.5 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oopsie.
And
Yeah.
my day just kept getting interesting.
Yeah.
Dude, I have stuff I need to do later.
Speaking of that, I'm gonna go grab me some coffee. I'll be right back. You just hang out. You stay right there, okay? God, you look so good, honey.
I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. No sharks, we're good. Now what? Health over stream. You know what it is? I need Lovesick to wake up earlier. Hello?
Oh, you're here still.
I'm in the ocean.
You fucking get out of the ocean.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Come on, it won't be that much longer. You'll just have a nice talk with Lovesick and be like, ah, you're right. And then that'll be it.
I'm in the ocean.
Just get out of the ocean.
I'm wet.
Get up here.
All right.
All right.
You know, one day I'm going to look back at streaming and I'm going to wonder, where did it all go wrong? Somehow, this is not where it went wrong. Why this isn't where it went wrong is beyond me.
Trying to get him up here. Honey, what do you think if I shaved my mustache? Thoughts? You want me to shave?
I didn't like it to begin with.
What the fuck?
I told you to shave it like 3 months ago. And you were like, no, I'm hot.
I do. Here's the thing, though.
Oh my God. I'm going to sit on this fucking rock.
Is the mustache makes me? It does. Yeah. Don't I look more like a dad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like, let's say if I were to shave it off, hypothetically,
Can I
my
ask you
dad
a
would look like
fucking-
this, right?
Can I ask you a question?
Less dad. Yes.
Why do you ask for my opinion just so you can make a defense that's more obviously in the favor of where you want to be? Honey, should I shave my mustache? Well, think about it. I look more like a dad, and I look a lot cooler, and I look a lot more fine-wined and aged with it. And look at this. Look, just imagine what I would look like without it. It sounds like you answered your own question, honey.
What if I just enjoy your presence? Huh?
That's kind of
How
cute.
about that?
Yeah.
See? How about that, asshole? Yeah. Motherfucker. Hi, Rube. You okay? You okay?
Yeah, I just had to call it.
God, kiss
Oh, okay.
already.
I offered to tuck him into bed, and he said no. And I was like, oh.
Oh.
And then he said Cap wanted to be tucked into bed, and I said ew, and hung up.
Yeah, understandable. I love Zach. That's okay. That's okay.
Can I interest you in a spicy chicken nugget in this trying time?
Would
I'm
you be able
hungry.
to drive up to
Uh-huh.
Do you need food? I've got like 8 on me.
I would love. Hold on. Honey, tell him to not drive up to Polito, to speed up to Polito like he's being chased with a hot gun. I am tired. But I want to talk to this fuck so badly.
Can you not say the word tired?
I'm sorry.
I gotta say EP.
Thank you.
Right, he's on the way. And love stick. Okay. Anyway, he's got a
Love
nice car,
stick?
so he's on the way.
Mm-hmm. What kind of car
That's-
does he have?
That's what Flop called. Anyway, he's got. I don't know. It's a nice car.
Does he?
Yes.
If he
Can
pulls,
I have it?
if he pulls up in a
Oh.
D10, I'm gonna scream.
I'm gonna kill McGregor.
What did McGregor fucking?
Oh, wait. Have I not had the opportunity to talk to you guys about this? Oh my God. There is more to talk about. Oh, fuck
What?
my life.
Do I need to step out?
No, you don't. Richard, and how he ended up in the hospital. Okay, so
I sort of kind of know,
Yeah.
but I sort of kind of don't. I
I
just
will
Yeah.
bite you, Cap. Goodbye.
okay, you can't say that.
Okay, apparently I can't say I'm gonna bite you. I take that back. I'm not tucking you into bed either, so goodbye, Cap.
Just, some people, they.
tell him something more
it's
soothing, like you'll
dangerous.
clap until he
Yeah.
wake up no more.
No, that's not.
What
No,
do I tell him? He's calling me again.
I don't know.
What? I'll call. Cap.
Oh, he's guilting you now. He's
Aw.
crying.
Oh, he hung up on me. Well, fuck him. I'm not calling back.
Oh,
I'll call you back in about 15 seconds.
Fuck you, whingers. What were you saying there, Ziggy?
give me a sec. I don't remember now.
Richard Dark.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, fuck. You weren't here for it, but Rue. So you remember when Dark he stormed off, right? And then, okay. So he storms off. I'm fairly positive. I
Oh
could
my
be wrong,
God.
that he went and because he was upset, he went and was drinking, and then at least how I was told, I don't know exactly, but he was at MRPD after having been drinking a little bit, and then Reed and McGregor show up there, and I think initially, or no, I think I think McGregor shows up there, and then Dark
Such
starts
cereal.
chasing McGregor because I don't know,
Oh
they
my
have this
God.
little rivalry that goes on or whatever.
I'm so
And
fucking
then
tired.
McGregor picks up Reed.
I'll
and
be
then they
okay.
start
I'll be
chasing
good.
Dark, and that's how Dark ended up. His car ended up in the
By
water.
the way, if you guys are new
over
and
by
happen to
the
be enjoying your
casino.
stay, hit the follow button. Let's see you come back.
And that is how he ended up in the hospital.
So I'm gonna hold McGregor's head under the water till he stops moving. And
Um,
reads.
That's
You know
I
what?
wanted to do, but
I'm gonna let. Oh Jesus fucking Christ!
I'm not seeing much speeding going on here. He just went in at the speed limit to that driveway.
that's true. Yeah.
You still look like Sean, by the way. Take that hat off.
You look like a mix between Irish and my husband. Actually, he wears flannel a lot, so that's perfect. Wow, and a shaved head.
You're
Look
saying
at
my.
Joins a Polito, so I
You're
had to wear the
saying
Polito
husband like I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Jesus.
that. I'm just okay.
No,
No, I
nice
know.
to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet
Okay,
you,
that's-
sir.
no,
It's a pleasure.
It's a
I
fucking
know that-
pleasure.
oh
How have
my
you been?
God.
Holy shit. Good to see you.
Hey, amigo.
Why is your why do I look like shit? Why does your hair look better?
It's not true.
What?
You look
Is
great.
this what we're here for? To discuss hairstyle?
No,
No.
no,
An
we're not here
outfit?
for that. No, we're not here for that.
Honestly, drip fits are good.
Flop.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, you know, if you need to
Yeah,
separate and have a conversation.
We're gonna
it's fine.
sidebar. We're gonna yeah. First off, fucking
What the hell's
beautiful.
happening, Flop?
Stand at
What's
love.
up, man? Fucking awesome car, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
You get that PD cash before you left?
No, not a dime of
Really?
it, no.
That's all from
I had a $30,000 SUV.
Ranger?
When I left PD. No, it was a Rakoto, which is
Okay.
now way more expensive. But
Really?
it went up $100,000
Holy
for some reason.
fuck.
Yeah, but
You want a cigarette?
I don't smoke, but
You mind if I smoke?
no, not at all.
I got you. First off, in the craziest way, it is so unbelievably good to see you.
Yeah.
Man, I heard that you left, and I was like, man, what the fuck happened? Like, I would just love to know, because Luis left, you left, a bunch of people left, and I was kind of in the dust. I'm like, man, like, what the fuck happened? What am I missing? What is going on? But I'll be honest,
So-
I was given a very short rendition of your case, and from the very little bit I heard, Well, actually, you know what? Let me back up before you just assume people are talking behind your back. I put my 2 weeks notice in, and I'm leaving
Okay.
the PD in 10 days.
Jesus.
So I needed that time to sell police cars, and then I need that time to make a couple extra bucks. So
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
We'll be back.
Did something happen, or is this a buildup of things over time? What is this?
this is a culmination of a lot. So a lot of personal family shit. I got nabbed by Hydra for some shit. A war between the PD. And
Yeah, I'm aware of that one.
yeah. But the thing is that it wasn't the fact that I got kidnapped that scared me. It wasn't the fact that they were talking, negatively about the PD or whatever. I love how they're taking my car out of the 15 cars here. Whatever. But the issue that I had was what scared the shit out of me was that I was about to die for a cause that I knew nothing about. I knew Hydra had some stuff with PD. I didn't have context. I had taken like 3 days off. So while all this shit was going on, I wasn't around. I get on duty one day. I go to clock off duty. I don't even make it 2 feet out the door, and I got Hydra circling me. And they're telling me that, this is Den Shiesty's fault and a bunch of other stuff. I was not upset with them that they nabbed me to send a message to the PD. I didn't like it, obviously. But they started telling me all this stuff, and I kind of just bit my tongue a little bit because I thought about it. I'm like, I'm actually about to lose everything I've ever built and loved over a fucking war that I know nothing about. And I tried everything. I mean, I feel like you know me well enough to know that I told these guys, I said, listen, I'm not we, I'm me. And I am willing to be a bridge, to be a line of communication so that we can end this. I said, I don't know what's going on, but give me a chance to understand it so I can actually make something happen. And the TLDR I got was that we're past the point of conversating. So I knew where this was going. And when I was asked questions, I said, no, I don't know. No, I don't know. No, I don't know. But I didn't lie to them. I was like, I didn't know, man. So I asked to say, I asked, could I please call a family member and say goodbye? And I did. And they gave me the privacy to do that. They loaded me back in the car. And one of them said, Flop, the best version of you was when you were a park ranger. And I told him that the uniform changed, but I didn't. And instead of shooting me, I was one of about 6 people who've been nabbed by them during this time frame. I was the only one that didn't get shot. They fed me to a fucking mountain lion instead.
Jesus.
Yeah. Hence the really cool scar on my neck now, I guess.
Well, they have mountain lions now. Hydra have everything.
They had me up in the north. They had me by like the lumber mill. They just fucking, they're like, go pet the kitty. And I looked behind me thinking maybe there's a chance I could run. I was by the tunnel and I had guns trained at the back of my head. And I said, well, it's either a bullet or it's a cat. And I'd rather honestly take the cat. So I was in the ICU for a few days. I'm just gonna I'm gonna give you the whole story. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna lay it all out. I was in the ICU for a few days. I came out. I took some time away to be with the family, recover. I could barely talk. I could barely breathe. And during that time, Richard had gone into the ICU over some pretty fucked up shit. I guess apparently McGregor had some say in it and some other stuff, but he's got a double lung puncture. He had minimum 5 minutes without oxygen to the brain, and doctors have so far told me now that he's probably permanently damaged and probably there's a good chance he won't even know who I am, essentially. And that fucked me up, so I took another day off. And at this point, I had taken like a week and a half off. So I waited another day after I heard about what happened with Richard. It fucked me up. And I went back to work after it had to be a week and a half. It could have been longer. It could have been a couple days shorter. I don't know. But I went back to work the other day and I said, you know, dispatch 225, 1041. Immediately get a phone call. That timing was wild.
Fucking farmers, man. Oh my god. Sorry, carry on.
No, you're good. So I laid it out that, you know, hey, I've been gone for a little bit, but what's up? There was a double homicide at CMC and they're unrelated. Can you come and help out? Sure. Drove down, week and a half away from work. Been in and out of the ICU for a whole week. Right back in I go. I walk in, I have to talk to victims. I have to walk by Richard's room a few times. Fuck me up. But I stay true to the badge and I stay true to the uniform. I got the job done. During this time, another call came through from the north. A bunch more people were apparently, you know, involved in some crazy shit. So I dropped everything. That we didn't have a lot of units. I said, Slacks, let's go. And he goes, you stay here, get victim statements, and I'll be en route to that. I said, okay. So I waited for victims. And one of the victims came in, one of three. Got him in a hospital bed. He got medical, started getting his statement. He was worried about his friend. And I said, don't worry. She's with a doctor and I have an officer with him. So I'll get updates as it goes. So he's giving his statement about a minute later, 2 minutes later. I just Slacks get on the radio and freak out and, you know, say, what the fuck do you mean? What do you mean there's another one? And the cadet got on radio who was watching over the surgery and said a victim from the most recent incident passed away.
Jesus.
3 homicides in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I didn't have the nerve to be able to look at this man dead in the face and say, your friend passed away. Chastity Marie, our old receptionist.
Oh, okay.
So I was, you know, it messed me up a little bit, but then what really killed me was when Slacks turned around and said, Flop, I need you to take this case. And I walked into the room and I had to look at Chastity. I had to walk by Richard again. I had to walk by the other 2 bodies that are beside him. And now a third. I walked out of the ICU ward. I walked over toward the cafeteria. There's a little cubby before the cafeteria entrance in CMC.
Yeah, I know.
I sat in the cubby, I laid on the floor, and I bawled my fucking eyes out. I cried. And it was the first time in my professional career I failed to uphold and get the job done. One thing to make a mistake is one thing to make a wrong call. It's one thing to fuck up. I shut down. Couldn't do it. And funny enough, the person that found me was Sean McQuillan.
Yeah.
Sean and I had a really good talk. And we kind of wrapped it up, concluded it. I walked out of the cafeteria. I went back to the room. Finished documenting, had officers help me with some other shit. I said, I gotta get out of here. This is too much. This was not a good day to come back. I wasn't ready. Go back to the PD, started to put my gear up. I got a call from the hospital. Dr. Bordier calls me and she goes, hey, are you good? I said, no, not really. She goes, okay, one of those days? I said, yeah. She goes, well, they're alive, but Tessa Lamb is in the ICU and you're one of her emergency contacts.
Jeez.
And yeah, please. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I just in the famous words of I'm drawing a blank. Once I was out, they pulled me right back in. Literally, I was away for 10 seconds and I was immediately dragged back in like a cane came out from the side of the stage and dragged me over. So back I went off duty, defeated, broken, whatever. And I missed the shift 3 meeting, and I spoke with Sky. I said, Sky, can I talk to you? And she goes, what's up? I said, I want to tell you everything going on. And I gave her this whole rundown of everything that's happened to me, all the ICU visits, what happened with Hydra. And again, I want to specify this. What happened with Hydra, what scared me the most, what bothered me and destroyed me and fucked me up over everything, wasn't the kidnapping, it wasn't the message, it was the fact that I was about to lose my life for something that I didn't even understand or know. And what was the worst that was going to happen? Sorry, let me rephrase. What was the best that was going to happen if I died? Because if I caught a bullet, Lovesick, I don't think I'd be standing here right now. You know, what were they going to do? Put a photo of me up on the board for a little bit? Here lies Flop Dugong, courageous, a hero, loved by everybody. That's great. That's cute. And my funeral. Who was going to show up? Well, I can tell you that if history repeats itself more than once, I don't remember Rooker having a funeral, and I don't remember Aziz having a funeral either.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
So let's throw that one out the window. Who was really going to fucking care? And I'm going to be a little bit more blunt with you as versus who I was with the PD. Because to be honest with you, I was honest and said that there's problems here, but I have problems at home too. And I said that I wanted to be around the people who I love and who I care about. And everybody said the same thing. Flop, why don't you take a leave of absence? Why don't you just walk away from it all? And I said, I can't. I said, this job hasn't been the same for me. And I told everyone, I said, you know, the first time I smiled was in the last 2 months. It was when I went off duty and saw my family. It was when I got to come back here and I got to see Ziggy and I got to see Rue and I got to see my family. That was the first time I smiled. And I realized that what happened with Hydra was bad. I mean, it wasn't good. And it traumatized me a little bit because I said, you know, I don't even know if I could pull over Hydra right now and have a smile on my face. I don't even know if I can walk by one of them. I don't know, like, what am I going to do in a situation where me, a senior, needs to direct units and I can't because I'm traumatized. I said, you know, that's not a good thing to have. And I started doing the math on it. And I said, I'm going to spend my life fearing for these people over a job of people who really don't care about me. I said, and not only that, but stop being stupid. You were given a second chance. It may seem convoluted, but I was the only person who didn't catch a bullet in this conflict. I consider myself lucky. Because again, I don't think I'd be standing here right now if they'd shot me. But what I will tell you, Lovesick, is I have to look at it optimistically as a second chance. I looked at it as forgiveness for them for sending their message. I don't hold a grudge. Didn't like it, but I don't hold a grudge. And I thought about it and I said, fuck, like, what do you do at a second chance at life? Because as far as I'm concerned, my second chance at life isn't to die for the same reason I thought I was going to die in the first place. So I told Sky, I said, you know, with all that said, I said, I'm formally submitting my 2 weeks notice. I'm leaving. I can't do it. I said, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I said, my father may not even know who I am anymore. And what am I going to do? I'm going to come to work and ignore that? For what? What am I going to gain to come here? A paycheck? Not worth it. My father means more to me. My family means more to me than anything in this world. If I lost my family, then consider it that I lost everything. So I submitted my leave of absence. And I'll tell you what, the day after I submitted my leave of absence, Lovesick, was the first day I actually felt relief. It was the first day I actually had a weight off my shoulders. And it was the first day that I felt comfort. Because I was surrounded by people like Ziggy. And I was surrounded by people, shockingly, for as random as it was, like Sean. I would go hang out with Finley. I would go hang out with JT. I would go hang out with Kelly. People just wanted to get to know me for who I was. And I said, you know what's crazy? These questions that all these people have asked me, no one has ever taken the time out of their day to ask me that question for the 10 hours I'll spend on duty. And it fucking ruined me to think that that police department was so far gone.
Yeah.
So I gave you the long version, but I left out some details just to keep this concise. But the long and short, to answer your question, it was partially stuff with the PD, but it was also stuff in my personal life. I realized that the job wasn't worth dying for. Not a good legacy to live by.
Yeah. There's definitely some parallels in your sort of story with mine in terms of PD not really caring. PD, I don't know if it's the pace of the city or if it's just the nature of the back-to-back calls, of like the severe back-to-back calls that they have to attend. But when something happens, they don't really stop and think like, how is this affecting us, or how is this affecting one of us? It doesn't seem like they really stop to say like, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? Because I didn't get that either. Your situation's much more extreme than mine, but in terms of support, I mean, there was no support on either side. So
None. It's I
yeah.
mean it's fucking crazy, man. And you know what's wild to think about? Out of all the
Mm.
Rangers that work together toward the end there, Maple, Loki, and occasionally Richard Tips, and the occasional
Avery.
and Johnson, but that's it. That's all of them. In terms of state, I think that's almost all of them. Keyword almost. I'm probably missing a name or two.
Yeah, I think honestly, yeah.
Can you imagine that for how much the state was respected and commended for and all the work that we did, that's what they have to show for it now? I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I'm taking away from your time.
Yeah, no, this is your time. This is not my time.
Ah, you're good, man. Everyone said that I should talk to you. And I wanted to talk to you because I know that you left and I always wanted to know why, but our times don't typically line up.
Yeah.
So I guess formally and more respectfully, because I only heard the very tiny rendition. I'd love to know the details. What actually happened with you?
So building up to this, building up to me leaving, obviously there were issues with PD throughout. Captains not being around, captains abandoning ship at last second, and emergency captains coming in that were voted in by other captains, etc., etc. Obviously the morale on duty was as low as potentially as it is now. I don't really know what it is now, but it was definitely very low, and there was a feeling that we just weren't being supported. So that was playing on my mind. I was in the middle of my probationary period, my 1 month, and I told myself I would use this month to sort of work out whether I want to be part of this PD. Because it was very clear from the get-go that it was not the PD that we're used to. And I personally see it as a completely independent like department. It is not a continuation of an old PD. It is just a whole new department in itself, and I think that's the best way to look at it. The last week of my probation, it got rough in terms of just again, everything that I stated has got a bit more severe and a bit worse. And then I was part of a scene late into shift 2. I was rounding off my shift, and I got part of a scene that hit me pretty hard. We were on Route 68, and a 13 Alpha pops off from Fuzankudo. Cornwood and I actually had just done the first moonshine bust, which is ironic now, given what the fuck I do these days.
I gotta ask, is that
first
the secret to the car?
I pour moonshine into the fuel tank of that car to fuel it.
Fucking A, man. Good on you. Keep going. I'm sorry.
The first moonshine bust, we were happy. We were taking evidence back to MRPD, and then the Alpha pops off. I turn around and go to it. We know it's we have an idea of who it might be. Anyway, we get there. Well, I get there, and I'm the first there because I'm so close. Cop down, and then there's this old man stood over. I think it was Avery. I don't remember. It was one of the new cops. It might have been one of the new cops. I can't remember. We were aware that he'd sort of punched her out or something. So, I keep him still. I say, hey, just stand still for me, put your hands up, etc., standard stuff, until backup arrives, and it eventually does. And I've got 4 units behind me, sort of waiting on me to do something. I can tell, and everyone can tell by what this guy is saying, stuff like, stand down, I'm the commander of this fort. This guy's got dog tags around his neck. It's clear that he's a veteran. He's going through some kind of episode. PTSD, I don't know what it is, but it's clear that he's having issues and he needs help. So I approach him. And there's nothing in his hand. There's nothing to suggest that he was armed. I mean, he's knocked out a cop, but we think it was punch wounds rather than, blunt, like fist trauma rather than like there's no bleeding on the ground. So I approach him. I talk him down. I try and put him in handcuffs, and he breaks the handcuffs. He then pushes me in the chest once. So I'm fully kitted up. I've got my armor on. I've got my my plate carrier on. Like, I'm good to go. He pushes me in the chest, and then 4 of the units that are behind me just open fire on him.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. They shoot him. He goes down. They hit me 4 times in the crossfire because I'm obviously as close to him as I am close to you right now. And let's say, for example, Ziggy is the backup. That's the kind of angles we're talking about.
Oh my fucking God. I would have.
So I get shot 4 times. I'm not incapacitated, but I'm injured on scene. I get taken to hospital where I eventually pass out. I have surgery. I head into ICU for a night. I wake up the next morning, and I find out a few things. Number one, that guy had died. So PD have killed that guy illegally, but nobody really seems to care about it. I find out that there's no report. There's nothing about it. It's very
what?
It's very basic details. There's like a basic overall report, but it's just like half filled out and barely anything inside of it. It looked like a traffic stop report, if you know what I mean.
Holy fucking shit, dude. I would have had a conniption.
Yeah, and then I take the clipboard off the bed to see who sort of signed into my ICU room. And I realized that the only people who've actually come to see me are people that I've been trying to put in handcuffs for years and put away. People that I'd spent my whole time in Los Santos purposely targeting, quote unquote, and going after to put them away. I think Selena Frost is the only member of PD that came to visit me during my whole time in that situation. So that really hits home to me as to who cares about me in Los Santos. And who I should be focusing my efforts on bettering their time and their lives in Los Santos, because they're the only ones that seem to care about mine. I go back on duty. Well, not back on duty. I'm told I can't be on duty for a few days, but I want to go and, sign in and get my statement in the report, because I know, hey, it's probably pretty important seeing as the guy died. So I get on duty inside MRPD. I'm in sweatpants, etc., but I'm in the dispatch room. I'm cornered away in the dispatch room and nobody can see me. I then have, is it Watts? The guy with red hair?
I don't fucking know. Probably.
He was an FTO back in the day. I haven't seen him in ages, but he was one of the FTOs back in the day. Christopher Watt, I think his name is.
Oh yeah.
Approaches me, and the first thing he says is, "Why aren't you in uniform?" I'm like, "Hey, not allowed to patrol, but I'm just getting my statement in." And he was like, "Oh yeah, where the hell is your
Alright, Andy,
statements?"
you're good. Sorry.
Well, I just got out of hospital, and pretty much first thing I've
You.
done is walk to the MRPD to get my statement in. He's like, "Well, it should be in by now." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, I've just got out of a hospital bed." Um, I then walk past two command members that night, um, both of which are fully aware of what happened to me, and not a single person comes up to me and says,
Are you okay?
"How are you? Yeah, are you okay? What happened? Do you need anything, etc." And I felt really, really alone and abandoned and lost, I guess. Even in amongst people that I've known for years, I still felt like I was alone. Um, when I woke up, I mean, I went to MRPD with my beard, um, but I noticed pretty quickly that there was blood just drenched in my beard. I don't know if it was mine or that guy's. I don't know. But I had to shave my beard again, alone in the bathroom. And seeing myself in the mirror there kind of really hit home as like who I am and what I should be doing with my time.
Dude, thank God you jumped ship. I'm sorry you went through that. That is.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy to think about?
Mm.
The more I talk to people, I've had conversations with so many ex-officers recently. All after I submitted 2 weeks notice. I've been very busy the last few days having conversations. The biggest takeaway from what you just said is that if the place wasn't bad enough already, it's obviously gotten worse. But to think that you're right, that you were practically fucking abandoned and no one saw your value is insane. Do you know who the officers were that opened fire?
I did at the time.
I wouldn't blame
But
you if
since then,
you.
I've moved on.
I don't
It's
blame
in
you.
the past now. I
How
think one
long?
of them was Declan Crane. I remember that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah, we'll circle back to that one. Holy fuck. Somehow I'm not surprised. So, let me break this down for you, Lovesick. I'm just gonna be blunt with you. I've been the happiest I've been out of the PD. And obviously, I mean, you see my family over there, right? My family doesn't
Yeah.
agree with this. Ziggy and I adopted Rue, not because of what she is, but because of who she is. I married Ziggy because of who he is, not what he is. And there hasn't been a single condition to the love I have for my family. I'll tell you what, same people for years I've been trying to apprehend, and the same people I've been trying to kick doors down with, and the same people I've been trying to raid, are the only people who have called me to ask how I was doing. You know how fucked up it is to think that the only people to call and ask how I'm doing are the people that hate me, the people that don't like the badge, the people that wouldn't even think to open their mouth in my direction. And to sit here and pretend and put on a fucking act, say that it was a bad day for the PD, it's just not true. That place breaks people down. And for all the time I've spent away from the PD, I have felt the best I've probably ever felt. Every time I'm around, people want to talk to me. They want to be around me. They want to check in. People want to get to know me again. I'll tell you a story if you want. Seeing as you brought up Declan Crane.
Mm.
Did you leave the PD before or after Lenny went AWOL?
No, before. Yeah, before.
Thank God. There were 4 of us on duty. I'm going to start this off with... I'm just going to tell you the whole story. I got on duty. What?
4 people on duty.
Yeah. So there was like 6 before, or 7 or whatever it was, but I had just gotten on duty. Fucking 10 minutes. Not even. I literally got on duty, and not even 5 minutes later, I'm at the PD. Guess what? I decided to sleep on the roof. Woke up, went down. I went to go to my car real quick to grab something, and Pred comes running up to me, and he goes, "Hey." I said, "Hey, Pred, good to see you. How you been?" He goes, "I need a FOIA for a bunch of people. I need a bunch of FOIAs done." And I said, "Okay, yeah, that's fine." So I helped him. He's like, "You have no idea how much this means to me. I've been waiting 5 hours just to get an officer to respond to me, and you're the first one." I said, "Well, I just got on duty, so I'm glad I could help." Man waited 5 hours just to speak to an officer, which should not be happening to begin with. So I said, okay. I'm on duty at this point, maybe 10 minutes, maybe. Don't even have my gear yet. I'm still waking up, still kind of starting my day. 13 Alpha goes off. I'll be honest, Lovesick, I didn't go. I didn't even have my gun. I didn't have anything. I was literally just like fresh out the womb, just, all right, start my day. And that went off. And I looked at the units on duty and I said, I should be okay. Helped him with his FOIAs. And someone asked my status. And I said, at 10:41, I'm not even like on duty yet. I'm en route to the hospital. I go, I'm there. Apparently, Lenny's car had gotten stolen. I was asked to go and search for it. So I started looking in inconspicuous spots. Checked Mosley's, checked Doc's, whatever. Lenny gets on the radio and has a fucking freak out. Now, did you know the little like group or whatever that was together between Lenny, Declan, and I forget who else, but it was Lenny and Declan. They had like their whole little like tag in the MDT and stuff.
No.
They had their own little tag. I forget what the fuck they call themselves, and honestly, it's irrelevant. But they had a tag, and every time they apprehended somebody, it was like, oh, gang came together and apprehended another one, sort of thing, right? Pretty much created a fucking clique. Whatever. Don't care.
Let me redeem myself. Let me tell you about Tater Tot Hot Dish first. You don't know
Why are you
Tater
swearing
Tot
at
is?
me? What the fuck is a tater tot? Rolling away. Goodbye.
No,
I'm not asking questions.
it's just a deep fried potato.
This is my
hash
life.
brown.
This is what I left for, and you know what? You know what?
It's not
I'd rather this
simple.
any
You love
fuck-
it, yeah.
I'd rather this any fucking day of my
Tater Tot
life
Hot Dish.
than a single day back in that fucking PD. But
Yeah.
Lenny had a conniption on radio. Slacks literally said, "Hey, 10-3, shut the fuck up, go off duty." And he said, "Make me."
What the fuck? Fuck
And then finally told him, "Go fuck yourself." Radio went silent for a minute.
Jesus Christ.
13 Alpha goes off. Slacks. I was like, holy fuck. Okay. So now we're all
What a
rushing.
coincidence.
Yeah. So now we're all going back. And by the time I get back on scene, Barrick had already shot and incapacitated Lenny.
Lenny.
Lenny had shot Kit.
Sorry, we're interrupting. Ruse
You mean-
EP. She's going to bed.
Me too.
Good
Fuck.
night.
Can we trade spots?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good.
Jesus Christ. Listen, honestly, this is a rare opportunity. I'm taking this. Have a good night, though. I'm glad you're doing better.
Ciao, guys.
Right.
Rest that leg up.
Mhm.
I appreciate you making time for this, by the way. My God, I've been
Yeah,
trying
of
to see you
course.
for days. But Lenny had shot Kit Archer and had shot Slacks. And obviously the morale went below the floor. It went below the basement. It went below everything. The morale, morale who. So there's like 4 of us on duty. There's me, Barrick. Actually, there's 5. I'm sorry. There's me, Barrick, Decker, Bell, and Declan. Barrick gets on the radio and goes, Decker and Flop, you guys are going to be the ones to... You do not leave your sight of Lenny at all. You do not let anyone get near Lenny. Nothing. Yes, sir. Bell does crowd control at the hospital. Now, obviously, this happened outside, so guess fucking what? The entire city was at CMC. So poor Bell was doing her thing. So I kept lethal out the whole time. The entire time this was happening, Declan had walked up, stood over Lenny, no gun in hand, no nothing. Stood over him, walked away, came back, just hovered. Now, it is renowned and very fucking obvious that Lenny and Declan were incredibly, unbearably close. If Declan was on duty, Lenny was on duty. If Lenny was on duty, Declan was on duty, and they were always riding together. They were an unbreakable force. So EMS move Slacks and Lenny over and whatever. Lenny gets moved over into the side room at CMC. He had been shot down next to the parking garage just behind the yard by Little Bighorn Ave. Do you know where that is? Like the little abandoned mechanic shop over by Milton's.
Yeah.
He got moved from there into CMC. During that time, it was in a side room, and it was me and it was Decker, and I had my gun out still. Decker walked in. He walks out. He walks in, makes some comments. He's like, nice to know that you're not doing fucking paperwork and you're able to, you know, whatever. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm like, dude, there's a time and place for this conversation. This is not the time and place. And he stood there loading a magazine over Lenny's bed. Lenny gets treatment, transported to MRPD.
Jeez.
I was instructed by the chief of police, you were to not lose sight of Lenny, no matter fucking what. Decker walks out of the room. Bell's doing whatever. Eric's doing whatever. Declan comes walking in. Starts making some comments about me and my whatever, my capacity as an officer. Talking about the competency of the PD and how incompetent everybody is and all this other shit. And I still had my gun out. And he looked at me, he goes, why do you have your gun out? I said, what? And he asked again, he goes, why do you have your firearm out? I said, Declan, respectfully, because I don't trust you right now. I said, you have been walking around, you've been at all 3 scenes from where he was shot to the hospital to MRPD, and you have yet to act professionally in any capacity. And you have yet to help out in a scene where we needed help. So he called 1042, cursed me out, told me to go fuck myself on radio, and then I should just continue to be a paper pusher and a bunch of shit. 2 days go by. Bones pulls me aside. This is before he got sheriff. And he's like, tell me your side. And I gave him the whole story of my side. And I'm like, listen, he didn't act professionally. I was on edge. Everybody was on edge. And there was no one on duty. I did not feel safe with him around. He had at no point during that entire situation acted professionally. Okay, Flop, I trust you. I honestly would do the same thing, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for being honest. Cool. 2 to 3 weeks go by. I hear nothing about this. Mind you, I'm a shift 3 cop. The 2 sergeants come in for shift 2 and go, yeah, let's have a conversation. So now it's Declan, it's Bones, and it's McNulty. And they put me in an interrogation room with everybody there, and they started asking me questions.